So today we have an iPad 8th generation Wi-Fi cellular model A2428. This device shipped in the original box and has clearly taken some excessive damage. Off camera I did remove the original plastic wrap that was still on it. First, opening the box, we can see the front glass is completely destroyed. In instances like this I always get curious as to what exactly could have even happened to this thing, but never get to know. Well, since the glass is breaking apart, I'm going to glove up before even trying to remove the iPad. Removed from the box, we can see the main housing is also severely damaged. Before going further with this device, I want to check that I can even take a charge on it. Lack of charging current isn't the end of the world, but definitely a good sign of it. We get something. Since we are drawing more than an amp so far, things are looking good. Moving over to the computer, I can use a utility like 3U Tools to gather more information on the device, and can even see if it's communicating, so it would be a good sign too. We see here that we do have an iPad 8 to be expected. Looks like it's about a year and a half since production date, and we can also solidify that it is a new unit based on that single charge cycle we have there. And as to be expected, we don't have an iCloud account attached. I am curious as to why it says it's even been activated though. This brings me to the donor. I have another 8th gen cellular iPad here. This one just happens to be iCloud locked. And ironically, this one is in near mint condition. To begin disassembly on tablets, I take them one side at a time. Since I'm going to monitor the heat myself, I just go ahead and throw that suction cup on there right away. Hot plates or tools like the eye opener work great, but I'm just going to use a hot air gun. I go back and forth on the side of the unit till it's hot to the touch. Careful not to apply too much heat. I prefer to start with a metal pry tool. Pressing in between the glass and the housing gives me enough leverage to get into the device. Then I use this opening to proceed with the plastic picks, just adding more heat as I need it. With these iPads I can go in a bit more with these picks since the LCD and the digitizer are separate. Only concern is the cables that are on the bottom right side of the digitizer. Then to rinse and repeat on the opposite side. Then towards the top end, these ends use much more adhesive than the sides, so adequately heat as needed. Similarly at the bottom, we're also taking that extra precaution with the home button and the antenna bands. Here, I have some adhesive still holding the digitizer down, so I'll just use some scissors. Then removing the LCD. Disconnect the battery, removing the connections and releasing the digitizer and LCD. Thankfully, the iPad's a little more sparse on the screws, so nothing too complicated. Just gotta account for a few extra connections on the cellular models. Little isopropyl alcohol will help in removing the board safely. Just give it a nice swirl, really soak it in. Prepping for the other board to come in and rebuild. Back to the other iPad. Since this unit is already destroyed and I'm not going to be able to save the glass or display, then I can be much more aggressive with the disassembly. The missing chunks here, give my razor blade plenty of room to get in there and cut. And I'm just cutting everything out of convenience. I'm going to show a close-up since I have the extra space here. Finally, our functional board. Don't cover any connections when inserting the board. It would obviously be terrible to get most of the way in and realize you're covering up something. Block off the battery contacts right away. Time to connect everything. Clean for new adhesive. Apply some new adhesive. Before closing up the entire system, I'm going to reconnect everything and just give the device a good check. We see the Apple logo, and that's a great sign. So far, it looks like a functional iPad. Going to do a more thorough checkout off camera. Since we are operational, just going to clean and seal the device. And here we have a functional iPad 8th Gen. Essentially a new board and a nice OEM build around it. I did choose to go with a spool of Tessa tape to seal it since I plan to use this unit personally. Otherwise, something pre-cut is obviously a better route. I do have some pretty strong opinions about how Apple handles their activation lock processes, but in instances like this, it's nice to see that most of the parts are still being used. Preventing some e-waste and giving broken electronics another chance is always something good in my books. Well, until next time.